If you're lying in bed right now with your heart racing and your mind spinning through tomorrow's problems, what I'm about to share will change everything. Because there's an ancient solution to anxiety that most people never discover. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone just like you is staring at their ceiling. Their body's exhausted, but their brain won't stop. They're replaying conversations from today, planning for tomorrow, worrying about next week, and the harder they try to sleep, the more awake they feel. Sound familiar? Here's what most people don't understand. Anxiety isn't just in your head, it's in your body. Your chest feels tight, your breathing gets shallow, your muscles tense up, and your mind. It goes into overdrive, creating problems that don't even exist yet. But thousands of years ago, people dealt with the exact same thing, and they discovered something powerful. Something that still works today, the Psalms. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually fell asleep peacefully? Not the kind of sleep where you pass out from exhaustion, but real rest. The kind where you close your eyes without fear, without worry, without your mind attacking you with every mistake you've ever made. For a lot of people, that feels impossible. Because anxiety doesn't play fair. It waits until you're alone, until the lights are off, until there's nothing to distract you. And then it floods your mind with everything that could go wrong. You start thinking about money, about relationships, about health, about that thing you said 5 years ago that probably nobody even remembers. Your heart starts beating faster. You check the clock. It's been an hour. You're still wide awake, so you grab your phone, you scroll, you watch videos, anything to quiet the noise. But it doesn't help, because the moment you put the phone down, the anxiety comes back, stronger than before. And here's the worst part. You know you need sleep. You know tomorrow's going to be harder if you don't rest. But knowing that just makes you more anxious, which makes it even harder to sleep. It's a cycle, and it feels like there's no way out. But what if I told you that people have been breaking this cycle for thousands of years? Not with medication, not with tricks, but with words that were specifically written to bring peace to an anxious mind. The Psalms weren't written by people who had it all together. They were written by people who were running for their lives, people who were betrayed by friends, people who felt abandoned and afraid, people who lay awake at night just like you, wondering if things would ever get better. King David, the guy who wrote most of the Psalms, spent years hiding in caves. He had enemies hunting him. He made massive mistakes. He knew what it felt like to be overwhelmed. And in those moments, he didn't just push through. He poured out his heart. He was honest about his fear, and he found something that changed everything. Peace. Real peace. Not because his circumstances changed, but because he learned where to put his anxiety. Let me read you something. Psalm 4, verse 8. In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. Think about that for a second. David's saying he can sleep in peace, not because everything's perfect, but because he's not carrying it alone anymore. That's the secret most people miss. We think we have to fix everything before we can rest. We think we have to solve every problem, plan every detail, control every outcome. But that's exactly what keeps us awake. The Psalms teach us something different. They teach us to release. Here's another one. Psalm 55, verse 22. Cast your cares on the Lord and He will sustain you. Notice it doesn't say, ignore your problems. It says, cast them, throw them, get them off your shoulders. Because you were never meant to carry them alone. When you're lying in bed and your mind is racing, that's not strength. That's not being responsible. That's you trying to be good, trying to control things that are completely out of your hands. And your body knows it. That's why your heart races. That's why you can't breathe right. That's why sleep feels impossible. But listen to Psalm 3, verse 5. I lie down and sleep. I wake again because the Lord sustains me. David's not saying he never worried. He's saying he found a way to let it go, to trust that he doesn't have to figure everything out tonight, that rest isn't just okay, it's necessary, and it's safe. So here's what I want you to do right now. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, take a deep breath. Seriously. Do it with me. Breathe in slowly, hold it, and let it out. Feel that. That's your body remembering what it's like to relax, even for just a second. Now I want you to think about everything that's keeping you awake. The worry about tomorrow, the regret about yesterday, the fear about next month, the anxiety about that thing you can't control. Got it? Good. Now listen to what Psalm 46 verse 10 says. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. Stop fighting. Stop planning. Stop trying to fix everything right this second. Just be still. Because here's the truth that anxiety doesn't want you to know. You're not alone in this. You never were. And the weight you're carrying, it was never yours to carry in the first place. Psalm 121 puts it like this. Verse 3 and 4. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. Read that again. God doesn't sleep, which means you can. You don't have to stay awake worrying because someone else is watching over everything, someone who never gets tired, someone who actually knows what's going to happen tomorrow. That's not wishful thinking. That's not just positive vibes. That's a promise written down thousands of years ago by people who tested it in the worst circumstances imaginable, and it still works. Let me share something personal. I used to lie awake for hours. Every night was the same. I'd replay every conversation, overthink every decision, create disaster scenarios in my head about things that hadn't even happened yet. And I tried everything. Breathing exercises, sleep apps, meditation. Some of it helped a little. But nothing really changed until I started doing this. Until I started actually speaking these words out loud before bed. Not just reading them, speaking them, letting them sink in. Letting them replace the anxious thoughts with something stronger. Psalm 23. You probably know this one, but have you ever really let it speak to your anxiety? The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. Picture that. Green pastures. Quiet waters. A soul that's actually refreshed instead of exhausted. That's not just pretty poetry. That's an invitation to stop striving, to stop fighting, to let yourself be led to rest instead of forcing yourself to stay alert. Verse 4 says this, Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. The darkest valley, not the bright, easy path. The dark one, the one that feels scary and uncertain. And even there, even in that place, the answer isn't to panic. It's to remember you're not alone. Conclusion, summary. So let's bring this together. Because if you're still awake, if your mind is still racing, I want you to walk away from this video with something practical. Something you can actually use tonight. Here's what anxiety does. It pulls your focus to everything that's wrong. Everything that could go wrong, everything you can't control, and it convinces you that if you just think about it hard enough, you'll find a solution. But you won't. Because anxiety doesn't want solutions, it wants control. And the more you feed it, the stronger it gets. The Psalms teach you to do the opposite. They teach you to redirect, to take every worried thought and turn it into a prayer, to take every fear and release it, to stop carrying weight you were never meant to hold. Psalm 94 verse 19 says it like this, When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy. Not when anxiety was gone, when it was great, when it was overwhelming. Even then there was consolation, there was joy. Not because the circumstances changed, but because the focus shifted from what I can't control to who's actually in control. From my weakness to his strength. From my worry to his peace. And here's what happens when you actually do this. When you stop fighting and start releasing. Your body responds. Your heart rate slows down. Your breathing gets deeper. Your muscles relax. And sleep stops being something you chase and starts being something you receive. This isn't magic. It's surrender. It's trust. It's finally letting yourself rest because you realize you don't have to be God. Psalm 127 verse 2 says this, "In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat, for he grants sleep to those he loves." Sleep is a gift, not something you earn, not something you force. A gift, and it's already yours. You just have to receive it. So tonight, before you close your eyes, I want you to speak one of these verses out loud. Just one. Pick the one that hit you the hardest and say it. Let your ears hear it. Let your heart feel it. Let your mind hold on to it instead of holding on to worry. And then let yourself rest. Not because everything's perfect, but because you're held by someone perfect. Someone who never sleeps, so you can. Someone who carries what you can't. Someone who promises peace that goes beyond anything you can understand. Philippians 4, verse 6 and 7 ties it all together. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. That's the promise. Peace that makes no sense. Peace that exists even when circumstances don't change. Peace that guards your heart and mind while you sleep. You don't have to fight for it. You just have to receive it, and the Psalms show you how. Through honest words, through ancient wisdom, through promises that have held up for thousands of years and will hold you up tonight. If this brought you peace, watch the next video for more rest.